This is my 6th reading from 170 Chinese Poems as translated by Arthur Waley. This book is available for free on Gutenberg.org. Taoist Song by Qi AD 223 to 262. I will cast out wisdom and reject learning. My thoughts shall wander in the great void. Always repenting of wrongs done will never bring my heart to rest. I cast my hook in a single stream, but my joy is as though I possessed a kingdom. I lose my hair and go singing. To the 4 frontiers men join in my refrain. This is the purport of my song. My thoughts shall wander in the great void. A Gentle Wind by Fu Xuan. Died AD 278. A gentle wind fans the calm night. A bright moon shines on the high tower. A voice whispers, but no one answers when I call. A shadow stirs, but no one comes when I beckon. The kitchen man brings in a dish of lentils. Wine is there, but I do not fill my cup. Contentment with poverty is fortune's best gift. Riches and honor are the handmaids of disaster. Though gold and gems by the world are sought and prized, to me they seem no more than weeds or chaff. Woman by Fu Xuan. How sad it is to be a woman. Nothing on earth is held so cheap. Boys stand leaning at the door like gods fallen out of heaven. Their hearts brave the 4 oceans, the wind and dust of 1,000 miles. No one is glad when a girl is born. By her the family sets no store. When she grows up, she hides in her room, afraid to look a man in the face. No one cries when she leaves her home, sudden as clouds when the rain stops. She bows her head and composes her face. Her teeth are pressed on her red lips. She bows and kneels countless times. She must humble herself even to the servants. His love is distant as the stars in heaven, yet the sunflower bends toward the sun. Their hearts more sundered than water and fire, 100 evils are heaped upon her. Her face will follow the year's changes. Her Lord will find new pleasures. They that were once like substance and shadow are now as far as Hu from Chin. Yet Hu and Chin shall sooner meet than they whose parting is like San and Chen. The line, are now as far as Hu from Chen, is referring to 2 lands of China. The line, then they whose parting is like San and Chen, refers to the 2 stars, which are divided by what we now know as the galaxy of the Milky Way, but which is referred to as the River of Heaven. Daydreams by So Su, 3rd century AD. When I was young, I played with a soft brush and was passionately devoted to reading all sorts of books. In prose, I made Chia I my standard. In verse, I imitated Su Ma Sang Ju. But then the arrows began singing at the frontier, and a winged summons came flying to the city. Although arms were not my profession, I had once read Jiang Chu's war book. I shouted aloud, and my cries rent the air. I felt as though Tung Wu were already annihilated. The scholar's knife cuts best at its first use. and my dreams hurried on to the completion of my plan. I wanted at a stroke to clear the Yangtze and Sang, and at a glance to quell the Tibetans and Hu. When my task was done, I should not accept a barony. By refusing with a bow, retire to a cottage in the country. The Scholar in the Narrow Street by So-Su. Flap, flap, captive bird in the cage, beating its wings against the four corners. Depressed, depressed, the scholar in the narrow street, clasping a shadow, he dwells in an empty house. When he goes out, there is nowhere for him to go. Bunches and brambles block up his path. He composes a memorial, but it is rejected and unread. He is left stranded, like a fish in a dry pond. Without, he has not a single farthing of salary. Within, there is not a peck of grain in his larder. His relations upbraid him for his lack of success. His friends and callers daily decrease in number. Su Qin used to go preaching in the north, and Li Su sent a memorandum to the west. I once hoped to pluck the fruits of life, but now, alas, they are all withered and dry. Though one drinks at a river, one cannot drink more than a bellyful. Enough is good, but there is no use in satiety. The bird in a forest can perch but on one bough, and this should be the wise man's pattern. Desecration of the Han Tombs by Chiang Sai, 3rd century A.D. At Pe Mang, how they rise to heaven, those high mounds, 4 or 5 in the fields. What men lie buried under these tombs? All of them were lords of the Han world. Kung and Wen gaze across at each other. The Yuan mound is all grown over with weeds. When the dynasty was falling, tumult and disorder arose. Thieves and robbers roamed like wild beasts. Of earth they have carried away more than one handful. They have gone into vaults and opened the secret doors. Jeweled scabbards lie twisted and defaced. The stones that were set in them thieves have carried away. The ancestral temples are hummocks in the ground. The walls that went round them are all leveled flat. Over everything the tangled thorns are growing. A herd boy pushes through them up the path. Down in the thorns rabbits have made their burrows. The weeds and thistles will never be cleared away. Over the tombs the plowshare will be driven, and peasants will have their fields and orchards there. They that were once lords of 1,000 hosts are now become the dust of the hills and ridges. I think of what Yun Men said, and I am sorely grieved at the thought of then and now. Footnote 27. Kung and Wen are the names of 2 tombs. Footnote 28. In the early days of the dynasty, a man stole a handful of earth from the imperial tombs and was executed by police. The emperor was furious at the lightness of the punishment. Footnote 29. Yun Men said to Meng Chuan Chun, who died 279 BC, "Does it not grieve you to think that after 100 years this terrace will be cast down and this pond cleared away?" Meng Chang Chun wept. Bearer's Song by Mu C. died AD 245. The Han Burial Songs. When I was alive, I wandered in the streets of the capital. Now that I am dead, I am left to lie in the fields. In the morning I drove out from the high hall. In the evening I lodged beneath the yellow springs. When the white sun had sunk in the western chasm, I hung up my chariot and rested my 4 horses. Now, even the mighty maker of all could not bring the life back to my limbs. Shape and substance day by day will vanish. Hair and teeth will gradually fall away. Forever from of old men have been so, and none born can escape this thing. Footnote 30. The yellow springs is what's known to the Greeks as Hades. It is known in Scandinavia as Hell, which is the underworld and ruled by Hel, a goddess. It is also known by various other names in various other cultures. It is different than the Christian hell. The Valley Wind by Lu Yun, 4th century A.D. Living in retirement beyond the world, silently enjoying isolation, I pull the rope of my door tighter and stuff my window with roots and ferns. My spirit is tuned to the spring season. At the fall of the year there is autumn in my heart. Thus imitating cosmic changes, my cottage becomes a universe. And there I will conclude this reading. The next reading for this series will be beginning Chapter 3.